Hey everyone, Mr. Devil here, Kenny Danico, 3-time Stanley Cup champion of the New Jersey Devils, and you're listening to the Uncle Puckers New Jersey Devils podcast with Chris, Dan, Bobby, and Tony, the Uncle Puckers. Let's go Devils!
Bombs are flying, people are dying, children are crying, politicians are lying too. Cancer is killing, Texaco's spilling. The whole world's gone to hell, but how are you? I'm super! Thanks for asking. All things considered, I couldn't be better, I must say. I'm feeling super, no, nothing bugs me. Everything is super when you're, don't you think I look cute in this hat?
Everything is super when you're a New Jersey Devil fan, guys.
Yeah.
Because this is the season we dreamt of.
Yeah. How are you?
Super. Thanks for asking.
I was going to say we should always start the show out with the Muppet theme for the Muppet Show, but now that you played that, that fit pretty well.
So Bobby will be joining us a little bit, so we'll get to some other stuff. But Dan, you haven't been here in a couple of shows, and we had a long discussion on the last podcast, and I'm really curious to get your opinion on a scale of 1 to 10.
Right.
And explain how important is this off season for Tom Fitzgerald and the New Jersey Devils?
Well, I'd say it's super important. It's super important. A number, I guess a 9, maybe, like how could it be much less than that? Because, there's a misfire that really goes back to the off season. And yes, there were a lot of other unforeseen things that happened, but the management during the season from Fitzgerald was, leaves a lot to be desired. I think everybody's saying, why'd you wait so long to pull the coach trigger? Why did we not go for the goaltender when we had an ability earlier in the year? So, this is his chance to get the ship righted, and I don't think it's going to be necessarily the easiest task. I mean, it kind of starts around the goaltender. If you can get the goaltender that we want, whoever that happens to be, that is, franchise goaltender. That's great. Start there. And I think he's got a few other moves to make. So yeah, super important. It's weird because, I think that the majority of this team is there, but obviously, there's some key moves that need to be made.
What do you consider the core of this team? What do you consider that, for the next 6 years, 5 years, this, and just stick with the forward group. We don't have to get into the defensive forward groups, but just your forward groups, who is a untouchable? Because I only have 3.
Yeah, I was going to say a lot fewer than I would have told you last year. Right. I am more than willing to deal big pieces like Jesper Bratt and others if it means making this forward unit a little bit more in the vein of Timo Meier than, the smaller guys that don't always, pitch in scoring wise.
I think we really have to start the idea of Brady Tkachuk in this on this team. I think that Devil fans need to start really making that known that he is desperately needed and wanted here in New Jersey, because I think that he's the guy. I know there are a lot of guys that play like him, but you find very few guys other than the Tkachuks and even Timo Meier who can put the points up and still do all that physical stuff. I mean, that's really what it's coming down to. Losing Jesper Bratt would suck as far as losing those points, but replacing him with, let's say, Brady Tkachuk, you're really not missing a whole lot.
No.
And you're gaining a lot more.
And really the clutch kind of play that we're not getting.
And we get to see him on Saturday.
Right.
When we play Ottawa. So, yeah.
Last year I would have told you Mercer. Boy, we can't touch Mercer. This year, I don't know.
Yeah.
Even defensive core. I loved John Marino last year. This year, I mean, maybe he's replaceable.
We went through the whole lineup the last show of like, keep him, let him go, things like that. Who do you want to see on? And I think we all came up with Marino was, if I remember correctly, we got to give him one more year just to kind of see. Was this the down
I'd prefer
year?
that.
Which year was the real year for him? Is it John Marino we saw this year, or the John Marino we saw last year? And there is a lot of moves. I think this might be the biggest off season that the Devils have ever had as a franchise. Yeah. Because if Fitzgerald misses, you're setting this team back years, and It's kind of a scary thought, right? Like, are the Devils the team that we're watching this year, or are they that team that was 112 points last year? I don't know.
Yeah, I tend to think that they could be that team, but they need to be a better version of that team, and they're not even matching that level for so many reasons. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see, but I think they do need to look at where they've been, pushed around. I think they do need to have a coach in place. That's going to be huge in the offseason too, with a good system that people respond to. Now, maybe that's Travis Green. He's auditioning for the job. I'm not saying he's doing a horrible job, but I mean, we kind of got to get some, something's got to be done, because the identity they had last year with Lindy was great. And we saw it fall apart. So really, the new identity of this team is going to be centered around a couple of what we'd like to see is, forwards with some grit to them, as well as, a serious goaltender and a coach with a plan for it all. That, I think, would be the offseason we need,
I like Travis Green, at least the little bit that we've seen, but I don't think you keep him. I mean, unless this team goes on a 14-0 run for the next 4 weeks or whatever, I don't see it. I think you have to move off of basically anybody who was on that coaching staff this year.
Right.
Tone, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm starting to even see it amongst. It was funny. I was on X today, and one of our listeners, I guess he was saying that basically it's hard to even go to the game. It's kind of getting to that point now, which we all know. Like, we all do this podcast, and I'll still watch the Devils anyway. But I have to be honest with you guys. I told you now I can record the games at night. When they're losing like this, I'd rather watch them in the morning than stay up till like 6 o'clock in the morning watching them. But I've been noticing online, like, that whole sentiment. And I told one guy today, I said, hey, at least tonight he's going to the game, I guess. And he's like, the excitement's not there. And I was like, well, at least you're going to see them wear their stadium jerseys for their last time tonight. There's not really, this season's pretty much, look, we're second to last now. We're only above Columbus. It's crazy, it's unbelievable. Even Washington now is making some kind of little push,
It's bad. It's really, really bad. And, it's when we were in the first half of the season, first 3 quarters of the season, even basically right up until, Jack got back and the guys got healthy again, we did use the excuse, of the injuries, and they're going to get healthy, and when they get healthy, they get better. It's just obvious now. It wasn't the injuries. It wasn't any of that. It's just a, fundamental problem with this lineup. It's this team not being able to gel, not being able to play well with each other, just no cohesiveness. What are you going to say, T?
I'll take something back that I said too earlier this season. Was I didn't realize how big of a loss Dougie Hamilton would be for us this year. I'll be honest. At first, I thought, okay, he's been kind of missing the last few weeks. It's going to suck, but I think we can get past it. But now you kind of realize how big of a blow it was to them.
Yeah, especially on the power play, 100%. And even just to take that burden off of Shimon Nemec and Luke Hughes, to have that veteran guy back there that can play the big minutes and head up the power play. It doesn't have to be all on the shoulders of those 2 young guys. Hey, Bobby.
Hey, boys.
Bobby.
Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Good to
Chris,
be here.
remove that thing I was saying about Bobby and the inflatable woman later before this gets published.
No, I want to hear that.
It's on, dude. You can't get rid of it.
We don't edit.
So,
what's up, Bobby?
Hey, man.
So we did make predictions for last week. and it was a really, really bad week, boys. I'm just going to warn everybody now that it was a really bad week.
I feel like my predictions are lies now. I'm just lying.
So we'll start with you, Tone. And this one I will consider a bad beat on your first prediction for the last week's games. And for the audience, every week we do predictions for the upcoming games. Last week was the Rangers, the Dallas Stars, the Arizona Coyotes. So these predictions are only for those 3 games. And Tony, you said that Curtis McDermott would fight Remke against the Ranger game.
I blame the referees for that and him being a pussy.
Yep.
Yes,
You're right.
as well you should.
Yeah.
We were all robbed at that point. We wanted that.
Your second prediction was that Timo Meier would lead the team in scoring this week. That was also wrong. I do believe that it was Nico Hischier that led the team in scoring this week.
Sounds
I think
right.
he had 2 points. So it's bad. You said that Jack and Brat will each score a goal in one game. That was
This
wrong.
year.
Yeah, at some point. All right, Dan, you said that McDermott would have 2 or more fighting majors. He had 1. So, again, kind of a bad beat because the Rempe thing was bullshit because he's a coward. You said that Jack Hughes would lead the team in scoring this week. I think he had a point. Now, is he injured? I mean, what's going on?
If he's not injured physically, he's injured in his head.
Yeah, and if he is injured physically, I think maybe you just shelf him then for the next 14 games. What are we doing?
Agree.
What about the playoff run?
I think that starts at sometime in October.
Gotcha, right.
And then you said that the Devils would have a shutout, and I feel like Jake Allen's going to give you the best chance at it. So
He had one going. He had one going.
Guys,
For
I think we need to
better
do
part of
something
2
here
periods.
about the shutout thing because we had a conversation, Dan, the other night when the game
saw
was
that.
going
Just
on.
messing around,
I
though.
think there has to be a 5-minute when the game starts. If we have to get a last prediction in, it has to be in the first 5 minutes of the game. And I was thinking about the problem we were having with that situation.
Well,
where,
but that wasn't really a problem. I was just busting balls saying that he had to put it in, or else he wasn't.
But there should
get
be
it.
a rule there, I guess.
Yeah, we can do that. That if you're going to put a prediction in for that game, it has to be within 5 minutes of the game.
A last-minute
Okay.
prediction, yeah.
Yeah. And Bobby, you said that we would have a power play goal against the Rangers. Nope, we did not. You said that we would beat.
We had 19 minutes of options to the
I
end.
know. You said that we would beat the Coyotes by 2 or more goals.
Damn, Bubby, I thought you had that one. That was a layup.
You should have had that one.
Yeah.
And you said that the Carolina Hurricanes would replace the New York Rangers on top of the Metropolitan Division. That was also wrong. So far, we're batting 1,000. I said that the Devils would go 3-0 last week. Yeah, they went 1-2 again. I said that they would beat the Rangers by 2 or more goals. We got our asses kicked, but I did get a point. I got my first point in about 3 months. I said that the Devils would be perfect on the penalty kill against the Rangers. We did kill off everything.
There you go.
Right.
1 for 12. What a week.
Yeah.
I think we were 1 for 12 last week, too.
Yes, we were.
This is bad.
And
It's
now
slightly
we
worse
have-
than the Devils. Slightly.
Yeah. Now we have this week where we had Sunday's game against the Vegas Golden Knights, tonight against the Penguins, Thursday against the Winnipeg Jets, and Saturday against the Senators. So we have 4 games. Tony and I each put a prediction in already. Tony hit his. I did not. I said that the Devils would chase whoever Vegas's goaltender was, and they did not. And Tony said that Vegas will beat the Devils by 2 or more goals. He got that one right on. So let's start with you, Dan. What's your first prediction of this week?
I'm going to go ahead and take that shutout as usual. It's going to happen.
All right.
Against us,
Bobby.
or
Right? It should be. I should be betting for shutouts.
it's called a
against us.
shutout at all?
No, I'm just going to
Bobby.
go down in flames. So keep voting for shutout. It's never going to happen.
Yeah, I know. What's your first prediction, Bob?
Jake Allen, in his 2 starts, will allow 2 or fewer goals in both.
You think he'll only get 2 starts?
I think he's getting at least 2. I'm just, his next 2. He should get 2 of the 3 for sure.
So 2 or less goals
Yes.
in his starts.
And if he gets 1 start and he lets in 2 or less goals, that you're counting that, right?
Yeah, I think you should
Or
probably
are you
word
saying
that,
like you have to get 2 starts? What happens if he doesn't get 2
Yeah.
starts?
You're right.
Just
For
any
however
starts
many
he
games
has.
he starts, he will not give up more than 2 goals.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's probably
Okay.
better.
Well, what's this, Chris? This is 3 games we're going on?
4. Well,
4.
Yeah, because you can't do the Vegas one anymore. So, yeah. So it would just be the Pens, the Jets, and the Senators. So what's your second prediction, Tom?
Allen will get a win in one of the next 3 games. Got to win one of these next 3 with him.
All right. My second prediction is that Brady Tkachuk will have the game-winning goal against us on Saturday.
It'll come at the first 30 seconds of the first period.
Yeah, exactly. And what's your second prediction, Dan?
At least one Devil will go out and miss at least one game with injury.
So one Dev from this week will be injured and miss at least one game.
Yes, will be scratched due to injury.
Okay.
It's been a while.
Yeah. We've stayed relatively healthy.
Yeah.
Jonas Siegenthaler got his head knocked off on
That's
Monday
true.
night.
Yeah.
Bobby, what's your second prediction?
Jesper Bratt will not score a goal that either ties the game or gives us the lead this week.
Oh, that sounds like a gimme.
We're getting fancy now.
I need a laugh too. Tony said we're going to win.
A game-winning goal. You're just saying a goal that would give us the lead or a tying goal.
Right. He could score any other
Tying
time.
or leading goal.
Right.
Tying or leading goal.
And if he gets a leading goal, but then it ends up losing that lead, it still counts, right? He gets that goal.
Yeah, the goal.
Is that what you're thinking?
So it doesn't have to be the game winner. It just has to be the one that puts us ahead. Even
Right.
if it's below us.
And you're saying he's not going to get any.
He's not even going to score first for the Devils, which would give them a lead for a period of time.
Gotcha.
Okay. All right, Tony, your third and final prediction this week.
One of those games is Washington, we said, right?
No, I did not. I said the Penguins, the Jets, and the Senators. But if you want to put a Washington prediction in, go
Crosby
ahead.
will have 2 goals against. No, I don't want to say that. He'll have 1 goal against us tonight.
Okay. All right. My third and final prediction is that Andre Palat will have the most points out of any Devil tonight against the Penguins.
I think that's kind of a little hat trick right there, in my opinion. But because Palat getting the
true,
most
we'll
points,
fight it. If it comes out, we'll fight about it next week.
I mean, he could have a golden assist and be leading.
Yeah,
so
exactly. He could have 1 goal and be leading with his team. So, all right. So, Dan, your third and final.
We will have at least one of the 3 games in which no power play goals are allowed. In other words, a penalty kill is perfect in 1 or more games.
Nice.
Okay. Our PK has been better.
It's the only thing that's been really working reasonably well. The power play is horrible. The team defense in general, 5-on-5 is not good.
5 is bad.
Yeah.
All right. Bobby, your third and final.
We're going to see no one foot in the lineup for one of the games.
Do we have lineups yet together?
Okay, can I not let Bobby go down in flames right now with something? I kind of heard that Nolan Foot's injured.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I heard that today.
He just came off being injured.
Yeah, he's injured again, I believe. If you want to check X, but yeah, so I'm going to give you
He has a swollen foot.
Both of our feet are gone.
Then this is going to change it up a little bit. Willman will get a game.
Willman will get in a game.
That sucks.
Kind of piggybacking off of somebody getting hurt, kind of like what Dan's saying, right?
All right.
Yeah.
And
I really thought Foot was ready.
Do we have any lineups for tonight against the Penguins?
I'll check.
Even Amanda Stein's like, I don't fucking care anymore.
Well, did she ever really? She writes up her one question, and then she asks everyone on the team the same question. Yeah, I like her too, but she's a bit. Oh wow! Here's when we handicap the schedule. We got to go over at the end of the year how wrong we were on these games.
Oh yeah.
My goodness, we did terrible. Absolutely terrible. We all had them winning against Arizona. That didn't work.
Well,
they should be able to hang with Pittsburgh tonight at least. That should be a game that they can win, whether or not they do. But they should. Well, I don't even know if they should.
Only 1 point ahead of us, right?
Yeah, who are we anymore? I don't even know what we should be doing. And like I said, I don't even know if a 14-game win streak gets you in the playoffs.
Yeah. If we roll off 6 in a row, I'll look at the standings again. At this point, I can't even bother to do that math and look at all those teams.
No, and if they do get hot, it's just going to be like you're going to miss by a point or two. It's just everything that we've given away this year. They don't deserve to be in the playoffs. Everyone's talking, they could still make a run. No, they don't deserve to be in there. It'll be like 2000. What year was that? The year that Taylor Hall dragged us to the playoffs and 18? We got whooped up. 18, right? We got whooped up by Tampa in 5. It would be like that. Like, what's the sense? I don't want to go in there just to get our asses kicked. So, Bobby, you got a devil you know?
I do.
Shall we play a game?
We shall.
Buckle up, boys and girls. It is time for the Devil You Know on the Uncle Pucker New Jersey Devil Podcast. Get ready for the most fun and interactive game in New Jersey Devil Podcast history, boys. Woo. It's the Devil You Know, where tonight it'll be Bobby. He's going to give us clues to a former New Jersey Devil player. Myself, Tony, and Bobby and Dan. You have to answer. We get 3 incorrect answers before we are eliminated. We can ask Bobby any question we want. He can or cannot answer. It's completely up to him. Former Devil You Knows from this season is Kyle Quincy, Ryan Carter, Nick Palmieri, Bryce Salvador, Jason Arnott, Mike Dunham, Wayne Simmons, and a few others. I'm not going to read them all. And today, Bobby, you are the clue master.
Let's go.
Sorry. Go for it.
All right. This former Devil's birth year, the top grossing movies were Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Robin Hood Prince of Thieves, and Silence of the Lambs.
He was born in 1993 or 2?
Closer.
4. 1. 91.
Further. 1991. Very good.
Okay. Little movie trivia work.
Yeah.
Is there any correlation to any of those movies other than that?
I just literally wanted to do that.
He's a cannibal.
Right. He's a cyborg from the future.
Yeah.
Who came back to play hockey for some reason.
91.
All right, so he was born in 91.
Tony's already rattling off when he would be drafted now, and he's going to answer in a second. This Canadian native won a Memorial Cup for the CHL.
Mm-hmm.
He averages a point every 3 games in his NHL
playing?
career. No.
Okay. He's a point-a-game guy?
Point every 3 games.
Oh.
Big difference.
Yes.
His best season was 60 games, 7 goals, 22 assists for 29 points, and a -3.
Can you give me those numbers again? 60 goals.
60
games, rather.
7 goals.
7 goals.
22 assists.
He's a defenseman?
He is.
Okay.
Cam Jansen.
His last season.
You got to
Cam
guess
Jansen
there.
was-
Cam Jansen.
Cam Jansen?
I'll just get.
Yeah, Cam Jansen. No, he was a forward.
Yeah, I thought so, too.
Yeah, my bad. I was listening at the low points.
It's all right. It's good to guess.
Patrick Elias?
Yeah, you got it.
Jeremy Yager.
His last season in the league,
Couldn't get Yager.
he played in 27 games. He did not get a goal, and he had 1 assist for 1 total point.
Wow, this is a real riveting player, Bob.
Gets better. You need more movie trivia, do you?
Yes.
Oh, no.
In his total NHL career, it was 189 games. 14 goals and 41 assists, which is 55 points. He had 92 penalty minutes, and that was over 6 seasons. All but 1 of his points came with the New Jersey Devils.
All right, so he didn't really average 1 point every 3 games, except in his best year.
I either did it for his entire professional career or screwed that up. But either way, it took him about 3.
Was he drafted by the Devils?
He was drafted by the Devils.
Oh,
In what year?
We're not going to do that yet.
Okay.
it's got to be like 2008 or something.
That's what I was thinking. How many teams did he play for?
It's further down the line. Just give me a second to
Okay.
get that.
He's got some good facts he wants to give us.
No. I just don't remember. I think it's 2, to be honest with you.
Maybe like in like 2010, 2009.
Yes, here it is. It's the next one. He played for 2 total teams. The other one was a Western Conference team.
Jacob Josephson?
Incorrect. Also a forward.
Okay.
2 strikes.
Tony, defensemen are the ones that play kind of
Yeah, I
behind
know.
the
I'm just
blue.
guessing
Okay,
out
I
names.
was
I'm trying to think of draft years. I'm like up in the 91 he's born in. I'm like,
All right.
Okay, let's see.
Played for a Western Conference team and the Devils. Defenseman who seems very kind of a stay-at-home, ineffective kind of guy.
Here's a fun fact. The number one song in America, the day he scored his first NHL goal in October, came in like a wrecking ball by Miley Cyrus.
Oh, I should know this.
This is a hat trick if anybody gets
So
this.
that
right
had to be.
I never even heard of that song.
2012.
I didn't know that song existed.
You're
2011.
very close again, Chris. Up.
Oh, it's 13.
2013.
Well, if he was drafted in 09 or 2010, which is probably right for his age, I guess it makes sense that 3-4 years later he scored.
Okay, after his last season in the NHL.
Wait, he played with the West Coast team, you said?
Played with the West Coast team. He did have tryouts and was signed by 2 NHL clubs, but he never got past their AHL level.
Oh boy.
The clubs were the Canadiens and the Canes, Hurricanes.
Who was the Western Conference team he played for?
Colorado.
Played for us and Colorado.
Us in Colorado.
Did you say where he was drafted at?
I did not get to that yet.
Okay.
In
Did you say
December,
what year he was drafted at?
What's that?
Did you
Drafted
say what
in
year he was
2000
drafted?
No,
I didn't
he
get to that yet either. No.
Scored his first goal in 2013, though.
No.
He was born in 1991.
Yes.
And
I'm
that's
guessing,
about
Oh,
18,
Stefan
19
Matteau?
years.
Okay, now Stefan Matteau is also a forward. I believe you're eliminated.
I'm done. I just keep on guessing. Montreal,
eliminated.
he said. I got eliminated. I'm the first guy eliminated. Well, he said Montreal. I'm just throwing out
We've
names.
never had an elimination before.
And wasn't Stefan Matteau, didn't he score the game-winning goal for the Rangers in 94 when he was 3 years old?
Wrong
What
Matteau.
is wrong with you? That was the best guess I
Okay,
ever
now
heard.
Tony, you must keep your mouth shut now as the
I'm
other two
done
try to
now.
answer.
If you
Okay.
just went by this game, you would never understand that Tony's leading this game by a lot.
Exactly. Yes.
We did have a Stefan Matteau. We drafted him.
Yeah, there were two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just making the joke.
This one I just threw in because I don't like the Rangers. But on December 7th, I said 2023. That is not accurate. He had an overtime power play
The
winner
facts aren't even right.
assisted by Elias to beat the Rangers 4-3. It was 2013. That's why.
An overtime power play goal?
Overtime power play winner from Patrick Elias to beat the Rangers 4-3.
Oh, boy.
I guess I'm.
Oh, boy. Ben Lovejoy.
Incorrect.
Oh, that's a great guess. I
That is
like
a good one, though. Low on
Wasn't-
points. Yeah, that's good.
Wasn't
Okay.
the Rev.
But he played with Detroit, though.
He
I didn't remember anyone else he played for.
he has never played in the playoffs.
Okay. Jesus.
And you know he was with the Devils in 2013, so you can start to kind of do the math there. His first goal came against Roberto Luongo and the Canucks October 24th, 2013.
Dan, you got anything here?
I really don't. I'm struggling with this one.
Yeah, I am too.
He was traded to and ended his career with the Colorado Avalanche. I already answered that for you. He played 4 years for the Devils, 2012 through 2016. That's your window.
All right. Maybe if I guess 3 forwards, I can figure this out. It's all right, Tony. I'm not going to get it either. It's the same
He
difference.
has a
Oh,
brother.
I suck tonight at it.
He has a brother?
He has a brother named Carl who was drafted by the Los Angeles Angels of Major League Baseball in 2003.
What? What's going on right now?
Oh, boy.
This was actually like a Tony clue. That's why I put this one low. I'm
And
like,
he's
this
a
type of stuff
Canadian?
Tony knows. He is from Ontario, yes.
Okay. Oh, boy. Yeah, I still got nothing.
Okay, in the trade with Colorado, we only received a third-round pick. That third-round pick became Fabian Zetterlund.
Tony,
Did
do you
you-
know yet?
I
I know you
don't-
can't guess, but
I think so.
Did you go over his like weight, height, and shooting left
No.
or right?
No, I'll see if I have that. If not, I can tell you, though. He is a left shot defenseman.
Okay. I know.
He
it, I
was
think.
selected in the first round, 54th overall, 2009.
All right.
54th
That's a good
overall,
one, Bobby.
2009.
I don't know why I'm writing this down still. It doesn't matter.
You think you got it, Tony?
I think he thought he did, but now he doesn't. You got anything else, Bobby?
Yes. He
Can I
was
guess? Oh,
a
wait.
bigger guy. He was known for his super strong slap shot from
I know
the
it.
point. Looked
know
like
it.
a major quarterback of the future for us, but that was about all he could do.
Can I write it down on a piece of paper or something?
Yeah, but if you show it, they're all going to see it.
I'm not going to.
So I was thinking Adam Larson, but he's still playing, so it's not him. Who the hell was
Call
on
this
those
guy
teams?
like a flash in the pan. He came out killing it, and it looked like we got our guy, and then he just faded off the map after a year.
John Moore?
No.
All right, so that's 2 wrong for me. Dan, this might all be you.
I got nothing, man. I'm having a hard time with this. Known for a killer slap shot left. I feel
Did
like
I get the
should know
first
this.
name right? It's
John?
not- yeah,
No.
it's not a John.
And what
Oh, my
what was his
God.
height? Was he a real tall guy? You said he was a big guy.
I had to reset my computer, so I don't have it.
All
But
right,
no, he
no
was
big
over
deal.
6
I don't
foot.
think that's gonna help
He was
me.
in the 6'5", or I think something like that, 6'3", 6'5".
Mm.
Tony's killing himself because he has it now, and he can't do it. We got to wait and see if we get through this, still.
Right.
Do you have any more forwards to guess?
Who was on those teams?
That's a good question.
Shitty teams.
Is Eric Jelena on those teams?
Eric Jonah was on that team.
It's not him?
It is him.
Oh, nice one.
There you
Chris.
go, bud.
Wow.
I totally forgot about his
I did too.
existence.
I did too. I was
Remember,
like trying
he
to see
came
what
out,
Tony was
scored those
mouthing.
goals.
And,
Everyone was like, "Wow, we got the guy."
yeah, I do remember that now.
Disappeared. Tony, did you have that? Is that what it was? Were you getting
Yeah,
it?
he as soon as I said it, he said it. Yeah,
There you go. He wrote it down.
He knew who it was.
But he put Eric Jonah forward. I don't know. He's still
Yeah, he was a goalie, Tony. You're still
Martin
muted.
Jello.
You're muted.
You're still
He said
muted,
Martin.
buddy.
Martin Jelena.
I was thinking like low points, and then I'm looking at the year drafted. I'm like, man, these guys, we didn't have much stars during that time period. But
No, we didn't. So
good one, Bobby.
yeah, that was a good one.
down to
So-
the wire. It's always good.
Yeah.
What do you guys expect for this week? Do you think there's going to be any positive here, or is this just going to be more misery?
Actually, there is a fucking bummer in the news today. I don't know if you guys saw it, hockey related. Chris Simon died today.
Yeah.
Did he really?
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Just
I love
52,
Chris
man.
Simon. Yeah, Simon, Nordiques, Avalanche, Capitals. I mean, you guys remember him with the Capitals? He was a
Fuck
beast
yeah.
back then. Flames, Islanders. Yeah, he passed away today. Suicide, I think they're saying.
Ugh.
God,
I hope I'm wrong, but I believe that's what I was seeing.
wonder
people
if
were
they're gonna-
speculating.
Examine his brain
You're right.
for
Yeah.
what the hell is it called?
Traumatic brain injury.
Yeah, especially when it leads to things like suicide. Like
Yeah, there's a lot of
Sayal
that, and yeah,
And
stuff.
I'm not saying it
And
definitely
he
was,
was
but
a
that's
fighter.
kind of the
WWE.
vibe. That's
Yeah.
kind of the vibe that's going around. I'm not saying he dead, but that's kind of what I've been seeing people kind of relating it to. So I don't know if they made it official yet, but he did pass away.
Well, you're saying that they're
Wow.
saying that they don't know for sure if it was suicide. Is that what you're saying?
I've seen a couple of things basically saying it was, but I don't want to, I just in case they were wrong. But I've seen it a few times online.
That's
on
absolutely
social media.
awful. He was
Yeah.
a really good player, and from what I know about him, he was a really awesome guy. That sucks.
He was a badass, man. He had
was
that
tough,
presence
dude.
on the ice too. You remember he had that I remember when he was in Colorado too, how nasty he was out there.
yeah,
Yeah,
big part of those
Yeah.
teams.
that's a shame.
Yeah.
But do a little shout out here to our Hockey Podcast Network sponsors. And we know hockey games move fast, but with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, you can score faster than anything happening on the ice. And this week, new customers bet $5 and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. You guys know the drill, right? Download the app, put code THPN in, get your $5 and get your $200 instantly. And then if you develop a problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.1800gambler.net in New York, 877-8-HOPE-NY, or text HOPE-NY. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort. 21 plus. Age varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. See dkng.com/hockey for eligibility and deposit restrictions, terms, and responsible gaming resources. NHL and the NHL Shield are registered trademarks of the National Hockey League. Copyright NHL 2024. All rights reserved. That's DraftKings Sportsbook with code THPN. The crown is yours. How much faith do you guys have that Tom Fitzgerald can fix this team?
This season, none.
No. I'm saying in the offseason.
I think you can.
You do?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I do.
I gotta say, like, he's done so well up until this year, and you could say it started in the off season. Okay, fine, but I honestly did not get on him about the moves that were not made in the off season so much. To be fair, and so with so much good behind him, I think it's very likely that he can get this team back together. But yeah, I mean, this would be the time to do it. Otherwise, you look at some of his earlier successes as more, stuff that's kind of played out. I wonder if his style needed some kind of evolution to it, because it looked like the way he managed or mismanaged the talks with Calgary around Markstrom was like the first real hiccup, right? We were really impressed with how much he would get for how little he would give up. And I feel like maybe that went to his head a little bit, and he just did not read the room right when it came to Calgary. And so that said, do I want to change GMs right now? I don't think so. I might live to regret it, but I think he can turn this team around. I don't think it's a ton of moves, but he's got to address needs that I think he knows he has now.
Dan, here's a question for you that we were talking about the episode you weren't on the last one actually.
Right.
Do you think that Tom Fitzgerald kind of fell into the same kind of spell that we all did in a way, like that this team was actually going to figure it out during beginning of the season, like you didn't really sweat it out too much,
right.
And during a big turnaround that never happened because there was really no consistency this year. Do you think he kind of fell into that trap with making the move so slow?
Yeah,
because
I mean, to some extent, yes, I think we all did, but he's the GM. And I think we were all sounding alarm bells much earlier than he pulled the trigger. And I think that's true of most Devil fans and most the people reading the situation. So for whatever his reasons were for falling into that trap, Tony, I think you're probably dead on right. Him having a faith in his team and Lindy, that they were going to turn it around. It's just a matter of time. But, it's still wrong. And, he you could tell that he knows that by the moves he did make. Ultimately, he did let Lindy go. He did, and all these things at the end was just, it's unfortunate because it kind of is like proof that he had an inkling earlier, but did not go with his gut or did not go with the evidence, whatever you want to call it, to make. I think
a lot of times general managers get in their own head that they just believe that because they put the team together, they can't walk away from it. And I think that was a problem. I think it was just, it worked last year. It has to work this year. Like a little bit of both, I think. Right. But let me ask you guys, in order of urgency or importance, we know the four main things that are going to be on Tom Fitzgerald's calendar and schedule for this summer. Rate them in order of importance for a beef up the forward group, a big another power forward, a good defenseman, a number one goalie, head coach. These are four main things that he's going to have to tackle this summer if he wants to turn this team around. Rate them in order of importance to you. What do you think? And those four, Bobby, you can go first.
All right. So for me, it was easy to put the defense last because all four of these are a major hole. But I do have Dougie coming back. That's a little more veteran leadership. So it was easy to put that last. Then the rest, man, that's a toss-up. But I'm going to go with goalie, number one, legit. Number one goalie, then the head coach before the forward.
Okay.
So it'd be goalie, head coach, forward, defense.
I'm going to go goalie, defense, then head coach, and then forward, actually, is the way I see it.
Okay. And Dan?
Yeah, I mean, I think either one of those are legit. I was leaning towards what Bobby said as well. I think the coaching, and when I say the coach, I'm talking about the entire coaching staff. We've got to get the power play straightened out. We've got to get the penalty kill consistently good when we need it good. So I'm going to put the coach ahead of what is a really dire need of some sized, gritty forwards. And then the defense, it's kind of hard to throw that at fourth place, but I am But because the defense is really important. Like you said, Hamilton's coming back, so I think it makes sense to wait on that. But I don't know that that's necessarily the only tweak this defense needs. But
Right,
if
but
I
you
had to
kinda-
rank them,
you-
that's it.
You're because you're kind of getting that extra help from the coaching rank should
Right.
also help the defense
That's
and the
why-
structure. That's why I put him last.
That's why, to me, the head coach is the number one. That's
Okay.
the most important one. You can't get this one wrong. It's got to be the right guy for this team, and I don't know who that is. I like Craig Berube. I liked him after St. Louis fired him. I thought that we should get him in then, call him up now. He's out of a job for the last 3 hours. We got to stop
I've seen
for him.
some articles, people like saying, "Oh, slow down the Berube. You don't want Berube," and I don't think they made a convincing argument why, because I kind of like him too, and I think he might be a good fit for this team. Would you have any
Well, I've
reservations with Berube?
I don't know much about him other than, I know, of course, when he played and then, seeing what he did with St. Louis and coming in, as the interim coach like Travis Green and take him to the Cup, just like Green's going to do for the Devils this year. But then, he was always consistent. And I know,
Dixie
like, towards
Cup.
the end, the knock against him was that he was a hard ass and he held people accountable and he wasn't afraid to let you know that. And he was very vocal. And I know that players nowadays, they don't really adhere to that kind of coaching philosophy. But you know what? Who gives a shit what they like or what they don't like? That's the kind of guy you need. I think with this team right now, especially with how they've underperformed in every aspect of their game this year,
Yeah.
I think a guy like Craig Berube,
I mean, I see him in the mold of Brindamore. If I could have anybody, I'd have Brindamore right now.
of course, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but that's not going to happen
No,
ever, probably.
I
But
agree with
think-
you, Chris. We had our time for that other kind of building type of coach. This team now is at the point where they need a kick in the ass type of coach.
Yeah.
That's just my feeling. I mean, I just saw something about an hour or two ago on X, whoever the new captain of the Flyers, and Torts benched him tonight.
Yeah.
So it's like, there's a good listen. I don't like that guy, but like, there's a message, right?
Yeah.
This is a guy who knows how to say, I'm running this ship. This is what you're going to do. And that is pretty awesome. So I don't buy into that whole, they can't handle a hard-nosed coach either. I think this team needs a hard-nosed coach now.
You know what's
agree.
funny, Bobby, though? I'm actually becoming more of a Tort fan each year that I watch him coach.
I'll give you that.
And at last year or 2 years ago, I said I wouldn't want him around our team at all, right? Like, I wouldn't want his kind of – I tell you what, this year, I have the totally opposite opinion. I think he's exactly what this team needs.
I mean,
and I think
only in the way I'd like to punish the players on this team just a little bit, because he's like over the line. But I know what you mean.
Really
Tony.
helped
We need
Philadelphia
somebody
this year, man. I
who's
really
going
believe
to
that.
be a kick in the ass guy, like Chris said. And so, Tortorella fits that mold. Unfortunately, he's got all these other problems. It just burns out so fast.
Yeah.
I think there's a happier medium, and hopefully it's a guy like Berube. I don't see I like what Brendan Moore's done. I mean, he seems
Yeah, I like
calm
Brendan
and
Moore, too.
control, but he's got a lot of fire and passion, and he's got the team believing in him. And that's
He's
what
the
you
scariest guy on their bench.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And when good teams, they always, in any sport, they take the personality and the model of their head coach, and that
Right.
is what Carolina's done. Unfortunately, when you have a head coach who tells you after the first half of the season that the biggest takeaway was we've had a lot of injuries, you can see where the team can kind of just have that
Yep.
mentality too.
Absolutely.
The baked in excuses. But there was something that I read that I it was a little troublesome. And I don't know if it's true, but it came out that Tom Fitzgerald said that Travis Green demanded, if he took this job, to have full and total control over the lineups, which makes me wonder, did Lindy Ruff not have full and total control over the lineups? Was Tom Fitzgerald
It's a great question.
micromanaging this
I
sinking
never
ship
even
all
considered
fucking
it.
year?
I mean, for the last 2 years, we just totally blame Lindy for this, and I still feel like that's got to be right. I mean, Lindy's got a lot more experience than Fitzgerald. Are you telling me that Lindy's like letting him mix up his lines? I would think that if this makes any amount of sense, it's because Travis Green started out as a interim coach, first time with a head coach position. They might want to put those kind of training wheels on him, and he's saying, "No, fuck that. I don't want to do that." But I don't think that's necessarily implying that Lindy did that. I mean, do you guys think that's possible, that Lindy was not in charge of the lineup? The only caveat I would say is maybe when it came down to like Jack. I wonder if there's any backroom discussions with Jack at any time, like being that he's the face of the franchise and this and that. Did they kind of like not know how to handle him properly? I never got this sense that he was a total prima donna, but now we're having difficulties with him. Lindy's gone. He's still not back.
And after, his infamous, people pay to see me. I think he has 1 goal. So,
Yeah,
I think he's playing injured though, but I bet you, I bet Lindy Ruff is actually enjoying watching the Devils more than anybody right now. I mean, but also you got to wonder too. With you talk about Fitzgerald maybe controlling some of the stuff upstairs. There seems to be with the Holtz thing, a lot of people were pointing the fingers at Ruff, right? They're like, Ruff can't stand this guy. Ruff can't stand him. But now you have to look at that press conference afterwards, and you got to say it's way beyond that. It might have been something from the upper office, even. Who knows?
I mean, that sounds like somebody who would want him, benched as much as he was. At the very least,
he didn't hold
him
back
and
on
Lindy
that press
were
conference.
100% in sync on Holtz. You're right.
And if a head coach doesn't have full and total control over everything that happens with those players, and management gets in and they micromanage, that is a recipe for disaster 100% of the freaking time. It never, ever, ever works. You have to hire a guy you trust, and if that guy is not, you have to be on the same page. You have to have the same vision for what you want to do with this team. You have to, if you're a general manager and you're thinking about making moves, you better sit down with the head coach and you better say, okay, what do we need? What kind of guys do you want to get? I might be able to get A, B, C, and D, and the head coach gives you his opinion and where they're going to play them, and that's about it. You got to have a relationship as far as the grand scheme of things, be on the same page. But you start micromanaging, nothing is going to work. The whole too many chefs in the kitchen thing, and it never, ever works.
I read that too, Chris, when that came out, and I didn't quite put it together, towards the end, like how we're discussing it here, but it almost contradicts itself in a way. So you brought the Holtz example, right, Tony? Good example. The flip side of that is, Fitzgerald really prides himself on what he's brought into this team. I don't think he's the puppet master putting Timo Meier on the third line, for example. So I don't know that it's completely true. There might be elements of that, and it might just be Green.
It could only be 15% or 25%. You don't know.
I do believe it's probably more likely that what Dan said, because it's an interim coach and him saying, look, I'm only here for 20-something games, but I got to be able to run this team for 20-something games. And plus, like you said before, he's auditioning for a head coaching job, whether it's with the Devils or with another team. He's head coaching for, he's interviewing for a job right now, these last 14 games.
Mike Sullivan is the other name they keep on throwing around. I know, Chris, we talked about that. Yeah, I know. But I keep on here. I've heard his name more than anybody so far in the last couple days.
I mean, you can't take away the guy's success, right? 3 Stanley Cups. He is a very good head coach. And maybe 2 years ago I would have said, yeah, Mike Sullivan. But I don't know. I mean, it really, the head coaching job is going to be a very interesting summer to see who that they bring in for interviews and who they're going to go with, because there are a lot of names out there, but maybe you go the way like Washington did this year with Spencer Carberry, a nobody in the NHL, a guy who people knew when he got a shot should be a pretty good head coach, but who's going to give him that first shot? Do we go that way? Do you bring in, I think you bring in somebody with some experience that can take a look, because look, there are going to be quite a few coaching vacancies in the summer. There's not going to be any that are as appealing for a head coach than the Devils. Right. I mean, that is, the Lamborghini of coaching jobs. You want it. Look at this, the core of this team. Look at the guys that are here. Any coach worth their weight in gold is going to look at this team and say, I can make this team a Stanley Cup contender. And that's exactly what they better be saying. Whether or not Tom Fitzgerald picks them. And I don't know how much input ownership has in coaching. I'm sure that they do. It's a big, big hire. So it'll be interesting to see how this summer plays out. But I think coaching is your number one. I think your goaltender is number 2. I think your beefed up forward is number 3. And I put the defense at 4. All very important, no doubt. But I'm saying if you because of the Dougie Hamilton coming back, because Luke Hughes and Shimon Nemec having another year under their belt, they should all be better. And maybe you can go out and, get a guy like, I don't know, Ryan Graves back or something,
And I'm looking at coaching to solve some of the problems we have with the defense too. Like, I feel like a better coach defense would have done a better job.
Yeah, defense has been so abysmal this year. And, it's not even the players. It seems to me that they're never in the right spot. They're never, there's something systematically deficient.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's right, Bobby. We'll see Ryan Graves tonight. I didn't think about that, huh?
Yay.
Yeah.
Actually, I was just reading a couple things. I guess, Marino's not playing tonight. Jack Hughes didn't skate this morning. Allen's going to be the starter tonight, so that's a couple things I'm seeing, but I'm not sure if Hughes was even going to play tonight.
She didn't put her lineups out yet?
No, they're not up yet because I think that
I'm about to get a point already.
He said he skated. Jack skated on his own, and he is available for tonight, but that doesn't mean he's committed.
Yeah, everything
to
I'm seeing
tonight.
here is that he didn't show up. He wasn't at this morning's skate, so I don't know.
So he's not going to play tonight. I would be surprised if he gets in the lineup tonight. There's something going on with him because it's the only thing that makes sense. Like, this dude dropped off a cliff, man. He has done nothing to help this team get into the playoffs. So if he
it's
is
weird
injured,
because you still see the skills he has. He comes in with the puck, he can make moves nobody else can, but then it just, there's a turnover and he's just not following through. He's not himself.
No, he's not. So if he is injured and he needs that shoulder surgery surgically repaired, then put him on the table now. Get it done. Get him ready for
seriously.
October.
Get him healthy for October, definitely.
So
Yeah, especially if it's that dire where it's actually needs surgery and not just rest. I mean, what are you doing?
well,
If that's the case.
it's kind of been chronic, right? I mean, other than last
you got
year,
2 or 3 now instances of
3.
being out with that shoulder.
Yeah, so you got to do something. Whether, like you said, if he needs the surgery, then go do it now. And the last 14 games, it is what it is. But
and then shoulders are a motherfucker. They take a long time to come back from.
But if Fitzgerald doesn't fuck up this summer like he fucked up this year, we should be right back at it next year. I mean, we should be a really good team and be able to do all the things that we want to do. And hopefully this season is just a hiccup and they can move past it. But
I find it very interesting, Chris, that we're not talking about you think about it, like, we're at that point of the season now, all 4 of us, where we know that, like, even tonight's episode, we're talking about a lot of things outside of the game tonight, where that game would have been like we're always nailing on those points, but it's come to that. We all
now
know.
at the point where we're no longer going to say, like, the next game is the biggest game of the year.
we're
We've
like,
been saying that
okay.
all year.
Yeah.
We're in
But
summer
I
mode.
don't see a single game. The only one I'm looking forward to is April 3rd with the Rangers.
Yeah.
And that's just more of a, like, are you going to have some kind of guts, some kind of team cohesiveness to come back against that, that team? That says a lot about you making a statement for next year. That's the only thing left on the schedule that I feel like is somewhat meaningful.
Yeah.
Maybe something will evolve, but
I mean, look,
it's going to be. I'll watch him. It's going to be fun to
Yes.
watch hockey, but
I hope
it's
and again, like, you got 14 games left. We know they're not making the playoffs, but at least try and finish strong. At least give the guys a little something to feel good about themselves going into the summer. Because they're really, I mean, there's been, like, no joy on that team whatsoever. They have just been, you've seen maybe 5 or 6 times this whole year where you saw glimpses where you thought, this is the team that we need to be. Right. And then it goes right back into the fucking garbage can. It's so mind-boggling what's going on with this team. And poor Nico Heischer's got to get out there every single day and answer the same stupid questions about this team. I feel bad for him, man. Where some nights he's just the only guy out there trying. Yeah. I don't know. But I hope we win tonight. I hope Jake Allen gets a shutout. I hope Jack Hughes plays and gets a hat trick. That's what I want. Build off something. But our big guys have not shown up in any way this year.
And not once this whole year, right? You have not felt that. I mean, I don't know about each one of you guys, but not once have I been like, man, this team is hot. Not one. There hasn't been one period of time where it's been over. I don't think they've won more than 3 games this year in a row.
No, they haven't. And they only did that 2 or 3 times.
And we've had stretches where 1 or 2 players are hot on their own, like Timo Meyer was, like Jack was for a little while, but it hasn't translated throughout the whole team to a long winning streak.
McLeod. Yeah.
And a lot of guys who were never hot this year.
And you know what? Tony,
absolutely.
But you brought up before, like, how you were a little wrong on how much this team misses Dougie Hamilton. I think this team misses Michael McLeod a lot too.
Of course, yeah.
And just because we didn't have anyone to even come in to try and replace him, to at least try and give us those minutes and those face-offs and stuff. It didn't. He was just here one day and gone.
It wasn't just Mikey McLeod, the 4th liner, right? It was Mike McLeod come in, take the face-off with their offensive draw, get off the ice, and we have more zone time. There was a lot to that.
I mean, when before he got arrested, I mean, this dude was the
best in the league.
The best in the league in face-offs. I mean, that's huge. And that helps you win so many, at least possession battles and things like that. We don't have it. Nico's our best faceoff guy. I think he's in like the top 15 or so in the league. He's a great faceoff guy, but Michael McLeod was on a different level when it came to faceoff.
Yeah. No, he was leading the league.
Yeah. So I mean, that hurt him. And how much did that fuck with their heads?
The whole
I think
thing,
there's
like
a
you mentioned,
cloud over the team.
there's been nothing
Mick Cloud.
positive, right? Yeah, so all year long, it's just like one thing after another, just beating them down on the head.
That McLeod cloud was part of it. It's a big part of it. That and just watching Lindy kind of unravel, that was a big negative. And then the injuries were a thing. You were definitely upset that you couldn't get any continuity, but I was even more upset that it seemed like even early on they were willing to let that be a reason for them, to just fall apart. Like, this guy's out, and they didn't pull together during injuries. That's something that can happen.
That's all about the
That's what I'm
heart at the end
saying.
of the day.
You're
And
absolutely
That's
right.
a lot about coaching too, Tone.
The biggest issue on this team, though, I think is, but even the other night, right? You see our guy on the ground, and you just didn't see the responses come in. It's just the way it has been all year. It was the way it was even kind of last year too. And I mean, this year really bad though. And I think that the number one thing that killed this team was the heart in a lot of ways.
I think that you got a lot of pieces. We talked about it on the last show a lot, but you got a lot of pieces that you can move around to better this team. Mm-hmm. Don't get stuck in Fitz cannot get stuck in this. Well, Jesper Bratt is my guy, or Dawson Mercer is my guy, and we're going to do whatever, and we're going to keep. No, if you can better your team, you move off of those people quickly. You say, okay, it's not working, and you move on. That's the only way that you're going to be able to keep your head above water, because if they have if next season is like this season, not only are we, I mean, that could set this team back like years, from, a Stanley Cup contender going into this year to, again, a dumpster fire for the next 3 or 4 years.
One thing I would hold again. Yep, go ahead, Bob.
We talked a lot about Lamoriello and what he was willing to do, at any junction, at any point of the season to do a winning move. People forget he was like a father to Brodeur, and he went in and brought in Schneider when Brodeur still had a contract on this team.
Yeah.
That's what this guy did. He came in and basically said, hey, the best goalie in the world is about to not be the best anymore, so I had to get somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, that's moxie.
And, listen, back in December, Lou would have had Lindy Ruff's head on a spike outside of the Prudential Center.
He would have been on the bench coach
just as a warning.
Yeah, that's the other thing, too. I was wondering if Fitzgerald might come in and coach, that would have been something to put his money where his mouth is, so to speak. But not that Travis Green is a bad option, but one thing I would want to know from Fitzgerald is what was the deal with the using some of the money from the long-term injuries. Why did we not go down that road? And to be honest with you, I'm a little ignorant of some of the details on this, but there are I forget what it was, 13 teams over the cap. Nothing happens. What were we worried about why we didn't make a move earlier on with that injury money, that Dougie Hamilton money, stuff that was never going to come back on the ledger anyway, and some stuff that was maybe iffy. We could have made some moves for this year, because I still felt like, as bad as this season's gone, a month and a half ago, this team was salvageable. I believe that to my core, that it was salvageable. It's not anymore, but it was.
Tom, I think you can put the blame. I don't have an answer for that. I don't have an answer why you just let that money go bye-bye, and you didn't, as soon as it was available to you, didn't go out and try and make some moves.
Land Hannafin, land those guys.
Hannafin, make the deal with Jacob Markstrom and Noah Hannafin in December. You have the money, you have some trade capital, move off of it. I have no answers to that, but that's the thing that really makes me nervous. Where was he this entire first half of the season? Because, he completely friggin' dropped the ball. And you left almost $10 million on the table. You could have gotten yourself a couple of nice pieces. And no, this team was not dead to rights in January when you should have been making those moves. But they're dead to rights now. Even when you made the moves, it was over. It was over. Travis Green's not a bad option, but he was the only option.
I think by the time the trade deadline hit and Travis Green was the coach, we were already looking at a 10 to 15% chance of making the playoffs.
Right.
Which is really starting behind the 8 ball.
100%.
Did any of you guys hear about the new rule changes they put in place tonight?
No, what's that?
Bobby, have you heard of anything of this?
No,
I just saw something about there's some new
NHL rule changes tonight?
Yeah. Well, I guess it's going to go into next season maybe, but I see X has a bunch of shit on it right now. I guess they're. Let me see here.
Tell me they're
not going to
doing away with offsides.
Yeah.
I think they're keeping overtime the same, which sucks because they wanted to go to a 7-minute one. I think they're going to keep it at 5 is one of the things. There's a bunch of stuff.
So these are just like possible new rule changes for next season.
Yeah, but I think they got passed today. I think they actually got passed.
Announced this shit in the summer. What's the point of announcing it today?
I didn't even think they did owner meetings and stuff now. Yeah. I don't know, but whatever. So before we wrap it up, we do have Devils Penguins tonight at 7. You guys, anybody willing to go on a limb here, score wise? What are we doing?
2-0 Devils. Gonna get that shutout.
What is that?
I don't know.
I think it would be a high scoring game. This one, I'm going to say 6-4 Devils.
Okay. Devils got two of you guys picking Devils to win. Bob, what do you got?
I actually do think the Devils are going to win this game. I think they might actually win 2 games this week. So I'll give them, the old 4-2 win.
I'll be the Debbie Downer here. I'll say 3-1. We lose. Empty net goal. We'll have it, 2-1 going into the third. We'll pull
like the last
Allen,
game.
Like every game. Yeah, we pull Allen and they score the empty netter. So that's it. I was actually going to make a prediction this week that the Devils would score with their goalie pulled, but I actually forgot about it till just now.
Now, we've been very unsuccessful about that all year,
We
right?
really have. We really have. I mean,
have we even gotten one? I'm sure we had to, right?
I think we have the most empty net goals against us than any team in the league.
It's been brutal.
We must be, yeah.
Well, it doesn't help when you're pulling your goalie with 5 minutes left.
Oh, God.
That, and we just haven't had the puck possession when we needed it. We have not had that control.
Well, because we don't forecheck. We are we're zone entries. We bump it in and then it's back out, and then we're chasing it again. This team is just very weak and very. You know what they feel like to me? They're a very easy team to play against.
Yeah. They're passive. They're passive.
Yeah, when you play the Hurricanes, the Rangers, the Bruins, you know that you're in for a fight for 60 minutes. If you're going to pull out any points, it's going to be because you worked your ass off. Very, very seldom is it because they're handing you anything. And I just feel like we are the easiest team in the league to play against.
Right. When we played Dallas last week, I kind of felt like Dallas was handing us one of their easier games.
Yeah.
And for once, we actually took advantage of it.
Yeah.
But if you look at the way we play, if you look at us like as the other team, there's so often we're not giving you a hard game to play. We might explode for some scoring out of nowhere. There's some games where we won, like we're not really dominating, but we get some great scoring, especially earlier on in the season, and we somehow win that game. How many games did we put a 60-minute effort together where we were like a really hard team to play against? That did not happen much. No. I'm going to say like less than 10 times.
2 times,
yeah.
It's crazy that we're a 500 team, like exactly, but technically 4 overtime. Like we're 4 games below 500. This team, right, is ridiculous.
It really is like just unacceptable on so many levels with the talent on this team and the year that you had last year. It is unacceptable. And
listen, I do think that Fitzgerald is a smart man, and one of the things that smart people do is learn from their mistakes. I do think he's going to do that, and I think he's also going to have to really reach down inside and say, literally, the time is now. Whatever assets I have to do what I think will truly bring a Stanley Cup to New Jersey, this is the year to empty the tank. Who cares if the AHL team's depleted for the next 5 years? If the parent club is winning for the next 5 years, that's all anyone's going to care about. And then you worry about that shit down the road.
Yep. Yeah, that's absolutely right. So anything else you guys want to talk about before we wrap it up this evening?
No. And by the way, I think those are proposed rule changes for next year. Except for one. I think one went through, actually. Something about the players aren't able to, like, hang their legs over the boards now or something like that.
Or their
I'll
dicks.
have to read more.
You can't put their dicks over the board.
Something like that.
You get a slash in the ding-ding. That'll hurt.
That's right.
So, all right, well, we're going to wrap it up for tonight. Wherever you are checking us out, give us a like, a 5-star review, a positive comment, a subscription to download really does help us out. And if you want to go back and listen to any of our old shows, you can find everything along with a whole bunch of other stuff on the unclepuckers.com website that Bobby just put together for us. It has all of our shows. You can listen to some really fun shows that we did during the playoff series last year against the Rangers and against the Canes. And, even the show we did the night that we were eliminated from the playoffs, that was a lot of fun. Even though
I'm going to go back in eventually, and I'm going to put the instead of just the one spotlight episode that we have now, which was the Jim Dowd interview, I'm going to put kind of our top 5, some of the ones that really gained a lot of traction, a lot of laughs. We'll put them up there so people can find them.
Joe Fano has to go on there,
Joe
man.
Fano.
The Joe Fano skit.
Yeah, if you want to go back and listen to some of that, it's there for you, and we appreciate you guys. And go enjoy the Devils tonight. Hopefully they give us a win tonight against the Penguins. For Dan, Bobby, and Tony, I'm Chris. We are the Uncle Puckers, and we'll see you when we see you.
Puckers out.
Bye-bye.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!